Let's do that again. Theme song. And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. It feels like I haven't recorded this show in not very recently. It took me, I got set up 15 minutes ago, and I was trying to let some stuff charge, and here we are, and suddenly I'm just, Okay. No, you don't know. Anyway, I'm back in the apartment. We have this is episode 172, I believe. We are in the throes of moving. As you can see, I've not done anything. But this is the second to last episode of this show that will be shot here. Yep, 172. So we will see what comes of the move in 2 weeks. Next weekend. Oh, it's going to be fun. I want to move everything out of the office, the bedroom, the kitchen, and the living room, and the bathroom. And then plop it down, not even a tenth of a mile from here. It's going to be glorious. But here we are. I thought I'd try something new by setting the mic up like this, so I can lean back against the futon here for the first time in, let's say, ever. I wonder if you can hear me as I can hear myself. Probably not. Hey, let's get rolling. Amazon renamed. This happened about 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Oh boy, it's April 20th. This story was April 10th. Amazon rebranded Twitch Prime as Prime Gaming. So as we know, Amazon owns a lot of companies, and they own Twitch. Oh, you can see my foot, my ashy little foot. If you're watching the video, I dare you to. So Amazon owns Twitch, and I think ever since the purchase of Twitch, Amazon has included Twitch's premium features such as ad-free watching and one free subscription to whatever channel you'd like. They added to the Amazon Prime offerings, which is great, wonderful system. But now they renamed it as Prime Gaming, and Amazon is trying to make it seem as though all of the company's properties are the same. Not the same, but part of the same family. Because there's probably still people out there who didn't know that, up until 2 weeks ago, didn't know that Twitch was part of Twitch Prime. Or Twitch Prime was part of Amazon. But I mean, they made a whole to-do about it. So Twitch Prime included the stuff I mentioned earlier. And the rename is pretty much on brand with what Amazon does. Amazon is also attempting to release a game, its own AA game, I believe. And it's going to be a game called it's called Crucible, which mixes elements of hero shooters and mobile online battle arenas. Also, this article is from The Verge, written by Jay Peters. Amazon rebrands Twitch Prime as Prime Gaming. It's all going to be the same benefits that you know and love for the $13 per month or $120 per year. Let's see. So there's gonna be a beta at some point for that game. And they also have a new world. It's called New World. It's an MMO, open world. And that'll be coming next year. Yes, it was supposed to come out this year, but it's been pushed to next year. Same thing for Crucible. That's supposed to have a beta this year, but that has been held. And then there's a new version of Pac-Man that you can play directly inside Twitch that was supposed to launch in June, but it has not been made available. Okay, so there's really nothing else about this, but just the fact that Amazon is really making waves in the gaming arenas. It's nice to have Twitch included inside of the family now, officially, as Prime Gaming. I wonder, though, given how Amazon, how Prime Video, I guess is what they're going to call it, how Prime Video has free things from IMDb TV, and you can watch some internet videos that have been repackaged as short videos for Amazon, for Prime Video. And then they have the channels, and some stuff is free to watch sometimes from Stars or Showtime or HBO. I wonder if they will ever include some Twitch streams, some premium primetime Twitch streams. And I mean, like, Tim the Tap Man and women who show their breasts and white guys who yell. That's all Twitch is. That's all game streaming is. White guys who yell and women who show their breasts but also want to be treated the same as men, as white guys who yell. Oh, God. Hey, let's move on. I just think that'll be an interesting pact for them. Boy, I could put some real energy behind this episode. Let's move on. Like, I think it'd be a cool thing to, just see Moon. I had to think of somebody. Moon is on your Amazon Prime thing, and you don't have to open up a separate app. You can just click on it right there, and that's more eyes to see. Like featured people. This next one comes from Variety, written by Rebecca Rubin. Patriot Act with Hassan Minhaj has been canceled over there at Netflix. So Hassan tweeted this out 2 days ago at this point. And it's proportionately, holy crap, the like ratio is 195.5 thousand people liked his tweet. This show had, I think, 8 seasons of roughly 8 episodes each, but 39 episodes were made over the course, 6 seasons. So 39. Yeah, okay, 6 seasons. I thought the headline had the number of seasons in there, but I was thinking of a different website. 39 episodes across 6 seasons, and they popped in and out between October 2018 and June 2020. It won an Emmy and a Peabody. It was widely praised by others, not myself. And the final season was postponed due to the pandemic and aired on the streaming service in June. And obviously, the show is going to be offered on Netflix for as long as Netflix lives. Now, this, interesting enough, is the 4th time that Netflix has done a talk show. They had Chelsea Handler's Chelsea, which had the most episodes out of, every single other one of these shows they've done, because that was a daily show, I believe. And then they have The Break with Michelle Wolf, which is a seasonal show, and they did 10 episodes, I think that. And then the Joel McHale show with Joel McHale, which was basically The Soup, but Joel McHale was smarmier. And both Joel McHale and Michelle Wolf shows were canceled after 1 season. Sources stressed, this is in the article, to Variety, that when it comes to renewal decisions for any program, Netflix heavily weighs viewership against the cost of production. And I think, Hassan's show had to be insanely expensive, because it had all of those. His stage was an entire, television screen, and then he had at least 20 screens behind him, and then they had the digital effects. They had a fairly large audience. And, even if the stage wasn't that big, all those screens are going to cost something, and all the digital effects, paying people to do all that stuff is going to cost something. Now, whether I thought it was funny or not, there's no point to it. It's just, I truly wonder, because, 200,000 people for a streaming show, Netflix or not, but for a streaming late night show, has to be a good number for them. I don't know. I don't understand. Jesus, I got an email. Let's see what it says. Oh, it's from Chase. Who would it be from? Who else would it be from? Bed Bath and Beyond? No, it's in the promotions folder. I don't get those vibrations. But 200,000. That's not bad. And if each episode is ready to watch on a Sunday at any time and you promote it, then it should do well for a weekly show on a streaming platform that relies mostly on binging data. That's the main issue here, is that Netflix has trained people to think that television needs to be watched all at once, whereas they have shows like, I think, Jeanette McCurdy's show that was also done in conjunction with let's see, Jeanette McCurdy Now is what. Jeanette McCurdy Dating, Jeanette McCurdy Now, Jeanette McCurdy Height. Uh, the show Between, that was done in conjunction with Netflix, ran for 2 seasons, but it did, I think one of the seasons, or both the seasons, it did a weekly release of episodes, and The Break did weekly releases. All of the late night shows for Netflix did weekly releases, but they've trained people to think that watching everything at once is the key. That's why shows like Stranger Things and Ozark and other, white people led shows do so well. It's true. Think of the most popular shows on the service, and it's 90% white led and 90% white casted. Um, and so I don't know what they want here. The cost of production, yeah, sure, it's expensive, but for a network that is valued at so much, I think you can fit the bill. And now they're out of the late night game again, and I could definitely see. And I mean, and even this last season, the last 8 episodes, Hassan and his producer made the episodes inside Hassan's home in New York during the pandemic, which was such a good idea, and it was an even better show without the crowd. It was just him in front of a green screen, and it was the same show, just without the crowd clapping after every single word he says. But this show had such a huge audience. Whether it was fun or not, had such a huge audience. It brought in a view that wasn't another white guy. It was Hassan Minhaj doing the work that he did on The Daily Show, but just on his own. And it sucks to see him leave because he's a very handsome guy. No, really, it does suck to see him leave because he's smart and he is a funny guy, even though the show was not that funny. And I blame the writers. And his overperformance with the hands, I would like to see them come back with another late night show, but in the case of in case of Patriot Act and Hassan, I mean, he was just a different voice in the late night game, and now we're only down to Desus and Miro and Lily Singh, who's apparently the only woman in late night, and Sam B. And we're down to just those 3 different shows when it comes to this stuff. I don't know what Netflix wants, but it's obviously not obviously they want 3 million views. Hey, listen, let's go to a break. Right? Yeah. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what in the world is happening over at Comedy Central. I mean, they have done some things. Okay. We'll be back right after this. And we're back to the show. Why do I always start these things without me having anything ready? I never think these things through. I'll tell you a little story. Today I was at work, and yesterday was like a really long, tough slog of stuff to do at work. And so today there was nothing, which happens. Oh, I just heard some thunder. Ooh. And so I go, you know what? I'm gonna go out to my car. I'm gonna go outside. It's it's like I said, it's about to rain, and it was very cloudy today, so it was very cool outside. 78 compared to the 96 it's been for the past couple of weeks. And so I went outside in my car and I opened the tailgate and I just oh, that's the air. I thought it was raining. I was like, oh my god. And I opened the tailgate and I sat down, and I had a meditation from Peloton. So I downloaded a meditation from Peloton. I sat down. I laid down, listened to that. Listened to an episode of the Journal podcast from Wall Street Journal, and I'm just laying there, and then I hear, you know, like the rumblings of a truck, and there's like I open my eyes. I'm in the middle of this meditation, and the rumbling kind of slows down as it's passing by me sitting on the tailgate, and this guy just like he works for the building I work in, and this guy like drives by and he looks at me like slow as if I was doing something wrong, and then he goes and parks a couple of spaces down. And I'm just thinking, you didn't have, like, I waved at him, because I didn't know what to do, but you didn't have to look. There was no point in looking. I don't understand. See, that's the weird thing about the South is they have to make eye contact with you, and it's just see if you're all right, and it's just, God, it's so disgusting and gross. Anyway, and then I finished the meditation. I sat up. I had a little snicky snack, and I had the Ted Lasso, the Jason Sudeikis show downloaded. Let's talk about that for a little bit. It's a show based off of his character from these State Farm commercials, I think. But it's a funny show. It's a very funny show. I mean, I just watched the pilot, but holy crap! It's he goes to okay. It was Sudeikis first portrayed in a series of promos for NBC Sports' coverage of Premier League, and he's just like a happy-go-lucky guy, coach, and he goes to England to coach this soccer team, and everybody thinks he's going to fail, even the soccer team's owner, and very funny show. I enjoyed my time with it. It still sucks. It's on Apple TV Plus, so I have to watch it on the 11-inch screen. Also, the series was developed by Bill Lawrence, so that's interesting. Funny show. I enjoyed my time with it. Apple TV Plus, it's got some shows that I enjoy. Mythic Quest, I'm on a love-hate relationship with that. Central Park, also love-hate relationship. And then some of the Fraggle Rock stuff, and all the Oprah stuff that they do, and I want to check everything else out. It's just tough to watch because you don't want to sit on an iPad. Although I did hook up the iPad to the television to watch Central Park, the season finale, because it takes me 1,000 years to finish things. Yeah, and they have the Beastie Boys story, and I watched that on the computer, like an idiot. Didn't like it. Oh crap! I just closed the wrong tab. I'm using Notion now to have all of the notes for C+ comedy stuff, because the Google Drive was getting a little bit too hectic. So I just moved not everything. I moved 2 things to Notion. I moved 2 whole things to Notion because I don't know how to figure it out. But if you have an iPhone or an Android thing, another email. Let's see who's emailing me. Google Takeout. YouTube Music. Google Play Music is going away, and YouTube Music is becoming the main focus. And so what you can do if you use Google Play Music, like me, for some reason, for the YouTube Premium, that's what I use it for, because I watch enough YouTube videos, so I don't want ads. But if you use Google Play Music, there's a transfer tool. You can just click on when you have YouTube Music, and it'll transfer all of your playlists, all of your playlists and songs and albums, most of them, and over to YouTube Music. I say that because a lot of the stuff did not transfer, and I had a lot of Prince and Megan Thee Stallion, and just like a disparate, Guns N' Roses. It was just disparate bands that weren't, and artists that weren't transferred over. Any Hoosers. So Google Takeout is a tool you can use to transfer all of the stuff that you have in your Google account. So you got your data, you got your email, you can do your music, you can do all that stuff. And I just use it for the music, and so I got all my downloads ready to go. Listen, let's go on. Speaking of Apple TV Plus, this comes from Variety VIP Plus, written by Kevin Tran. The threat to Apple TV's bundle bet. So earlier this week, I believe, Apple TV Plus announced a deal where you can get Showtime and CBS All Access for $10, but only if you have Apple TV Plus. So you get all that stuff for $15. That's a great deal if you're in the Apple ecosystem. And like I said, you can only get that stuff through Apple TV Plus's TV channels, through Apple TV channels. So I don't think that you can subscribe to Showtime and CBS All Access via Apple TV Plus channels or Apple TV channels, and then also go to your PlayStation or your Xbox or your Android phone or your laptop and watch Showtime on there. I think you have to use the channels. So CBS All Access and Showtime, Viacom CBS has said that CBS All Access and Showtime are performing well, performing just out of this world, which is fine for them. But Bloomberg also reported that last week, Apple is working on a slew of bundles that would group together Apple services like Apple TV Plus and Apple Music at lower prices. So you would be able to, and obviously we don't know what's going to happen, but they'd have like TV and music and one other thing for a price of, and then it would save you money too. So instead of each one of them costing, Apple TV Plus is $5 and Apple Music is $10, and then another thing is $5, you'd be paying that's $20. You'd be paying $15 for the lot of it. Kind of like how Disney Plus does with Hulu, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus, or Disney Plus and Hulu, ESPN Plus. With any bundle offering, Apple TV Plus should initially see accelerated uptake. Oh yeah, okay. Amazon Prime is a bundle that does that. But at the same time, the bundle strategy, specifically Apple's multi-tiered intra-Apple devices service strategy, internally dubbed Apple One, and that's what they're calling it, has a potential to further complicate the Apple TV Plus consumer pitch, which would be counterproductive to accelerating growth. And I understand people want to save the money and have, all of these. But at some point, it does become confusing. The Apple TV Plus layout is extremely difficult to, Kevin talks about this in this article. He is very correct. It is hard to go on to Apple TV Plus and find a show that you want to look at. I clicked on the Stars app by accident. So, yeah, I watched Late Night with Seth Meyers, and I watched, The Simpsons on Disney Plus. But what is the only show I watch on Disney Plus, except for that and Encore? But how would I get, if Central Park wasn't here, how would I get to it? You have to go to channels. You have to click on Apple TV Plus, and then you scroll. You have to scroll down and find whatever you want. But there are ad buttons, but that really does nothing. It doesn't have a watch list. There's nothing that you're able to. It's not easy to get through. That's what I'm saying. So Apple isn't really making a case to have Apple One and then have this other bundle. If you're going to bundle in Apple TV Plus with other things, then you're spreading yourself a little bit thin. It's kind of like, and now that I'm saying this out loud, it's kind of like oh God, what is that thing? Spotify. It's kind of like Spotify. Spotify has Like if you have Sprint, then you can get Spotify and Hulu with for like $12 a month. If you have some other thing, you can just get Spotify for half off. If there's different ways to get Spotify, but there's not one singular way to do it the right way. Listen, let's take an unprecedented third break. When we come back, we'll talk about the last two things on the list that I needed to talk about. Oh, hold on. I got to do this. And we're back. Okay. Had a little hiccup. We're coming back. Something just happened. The Zoom died on me. The Zoom audio recorder, the H6, died a very quick death. I saw the screen flash bright, and then it just died. So now it is connected to the Audition 2020 on my laptop. And I was in the middle of a story, and I have to start over, and I thought about using that video, but now I'm not going to. Because it's too much work to edit stuff right now. All right, so I'll start my story over. Basically, what the idea of the story was, I'm making sure it's still on. It's plugged into the laptop, so I'm using it as an audio interface as opposed to a recorder itself. So, what happened? This is what happened. What was the story about? Oh my God, I forgot the story. It wasn't even that good of a story. Oh, Jesus. Should we just move on to the last topic? Stupid freaking Zoom thing. Oh, okay. I was telling the story about my SSD for my laptop. Okay. So, past couple of months, I have been working with a very full SSD. This is a 500 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte of RAM, a Core i7 laptop from 2015. And so it should still, be good even 5 years later because it has an SSD. But you don't want your SSD to be full. And so I've been working with between 43 and 63 gigabytes of stuff, free space on my SSD. Laptop's been slow, and I've been trying to figure this out. So a couple of days ago, I downloaded Backblaze, which is a subscription, cloud-based backup service for your laptop. And so I downloaded it, and it's taking stuff off my SSD all night, and then I pause it, I take it to work because I have faster net there, and it starts taking, I let it go and it starts taking more stuff off, or copying more things, and I look over and I see there's a file name I don't recognize, and it's like not .tiff, but it's oh God. Anyway, it's like dot, PFGH, and I've never seen this. And I go, what is that? So I Google it, and I find that it is from Premiere, all the Adobe things that I have. It's from that, and it's files that from episodes of News Time that I've haven't touched in literally years. It's files. It says Charlemagne dares Amber Rose to text Beyonce, and a trailer for Justice League 2018. And I'm thinking, why is this still on my laptop? And they're full gigabytes worth of videos, so many gigabytes. And so I Google this, and it says how to delete your media cache, and I went, excuse me? So I paused the backup, and I find out how to delete media cache. What turns out that when you edit things in Premiere, it saves what essentially is, I guess, its own RAM copy of a video. And if I know I'm getting this wrong, but whatever, it's how I understand it. Basically, a copy of the video, so that if you ever bring that video back, if you're making a documentary and you bring that that B-roll back, then it can load into Premiere faster. If you ever delete it and then drag and drop it again, the source file again, it'll just make a copy of a media cache. So that's what a cache is. And I am sitting there freaking out, this is what's taking up all this space. And so I do that. I clear my cache, look at my SSD, and it says 124 gigabytes used, which is basically all of the Adobe programs. And I was like, oh my God, I freed up 300 some odd gigabytes worth of stuff. And now the laptop has been moving faster, and Premiere Pro 2020 would not open for, as long as I've had it. It would ask me to update and ask me to update my drivers and all this stuff. But now everything just works. And I'm so pissed. I'm so mad, so angry that that had to happen. I just want to get that story off my chest. Okay. All right, let's move on to the last thing. Comedy Central, speaking of Viacom CBS, has canceled Drunk History and Tosh.0. Fans of the show or not, those are the probably two most watched live action shows on the network. But we'll get into why they were canceled in a second. And it's very stupid. This is written by Leslie Goldberg over here at THR, The Hollywood Reporter. Both of these were written by Leslie Goldberg. So, Comedy Central has reversed course on plans for a 7th season of Derek Waters' series. Drunk History was already picked up for another season, and the 6th season, which ended its run on August 6th, will now be the last. Another email. Guys, one email per part of this show. It's from Marcus by Goldman Sachs. All right, talking about my savings. Production had been underway on the 7th season of the series before the pandemic ended. And also this goes for the same thing as Tosh.0. Earlier this year, Comedy Central ordered 80 more episodes of Tosh.0. It was a 4-season renewal. So when COVID-19, when coronavirus pandemic hit, they had to shut down making the seasons of these shows, obviously. Comedy Central ordered 16 episodes for the 7th season. It was announced a year ago, and now we're just never going to get to see whatever was happening. Same thing for Tosh.0. They had signed him to, he was coming, the latest season was coming back in September. It still is. They already shot that, so it's obviously going to go up. And now this is the 12th season. And I believe he had signed, so the January deal for Tosh.0 was for a whopping 80 new episodes that would have taken the show through its 16th season in 2024. The pact included an overall deal for comedian Tosh. The status of the pact is unclear. At the time, talks were underway for an unscripted series that Tosh would host and executive produce, as well as a script deal for which he would serve as an executive producer. Now, the renewal was overseen by Comedy Central heads of originals Sarah Babineau and Jonas Larson, neither of whom remain with the network, which has seen a number of creatives depart amid a larger executive restructuring at parent company Viacom CBS. So Chris McCarthy took over at Comedy Central this past year for Kent Alterman, who, Kent Alterman, for what it's worth, did a very good job, did a fantastic job. But this new Chris McCarthy guy, who is the president of Viacom CBS Entertainment and Youth Group, so that means he's good with knowing what the kids like. He's charting, oh, my stomach just growled, a new course for the cable network. So now there are 3 focuses for Comedy Central: adult animation, topical series like The Daily Show, and comedic made-for-TV feature films. So that's why we have new reboots of Beavis and Butthead, Ren and Stimpy, the Daria spinoff Jodie, and others. So it's gonna be more of a focus on adult animation, because I guess South Park is still their highest rated thing. But Killing Stables of, and then last week, The Other Two and Southside were both moved over to HBO Max as a partnership between Comedy Central Productions and HBO and Warner Media. As I think they're trying to do the niche thing, where CMT is country music entertainment channel, whatever. BET's Black Entertainment. MTV will have a reliance on music going forward. This is what I can only assume, which is why Beavis and Butthead is not on MTV. And then VH1 is going to be reality, because they just renewed what it says here, a trio of RuPaul shows. And I think they're just trying to I don't want to say treat people like they're stupid, but treat people like they're stupid. Treat the TV Land is all the reruns of old shows, and which is why they don't have original shows on there anymore. I don't get what the point is of canceling probably two of the highest rated shows in the network. It boggles my mind for both of these shows not to no longer be with Comedy Central. Tosh, Drunk History had, I think, 17 Emmy nominations over the course of his run, something like that. This is like the same thing for whatchamacallit. Let me see. For oh God, what is it? What is the show I just talked about on Netflix? Hassan Minaj's show, Patriot Act. Let's see how many Emmys that the Drunk History had. Drunk History had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Emmys over the past 5 years, and it won one. But even to be nominated, and it's nominated for an Emmy this year. Viacom, I don't know. I truly don't know what's going on over there. I mean, they want to have the streaming platform that's as big as Amazon and Netflix and Hulu, but then they push everything that they own onto those networks, because licensing will get them more money than having people subscribe to their supposedly exploding CBS All Access, exploding upward trajectory in audiences numbers. I don't know. I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think this is a good idea at all. Having Comedy Central be this adult cartoon focused thing, and then over the past 10 years, since the conception of Comedy Central, they've had how many talk shows that have been hosted by comedians? You have Nikki and Sarah Live, and Moshe Kasher's show, and Anthony Jeselnik had a couple of shows. Hannibal Buress had a show, and they want these hood adjacent. They want these shows that are hosted that can be cheaply made and hosted by and topical, like Problematic with Moshe Kasher's show. Problematic, that was a small audience talking about the problems of the issues of today, the race and sex and all that stuff. Same thing for Nikki and Sarah Live, but it was hosted by Nikki Glazer and Sarah, the woman whose last name I can't remember. I don't, man, this is so tough to get a grasp of. They want to save money and put it towards animation, because I guess animation can be done ahead of time. Like, why not invest in the single camera shows? What happens to Aquafina is Nora from Queens? That show, now you can stream it on HBO Max, but does that get pushed to HBO Max alongside Southside and the other two? Or does it flounder on Comedy Central? Are they mad because they don't have the views that HBO and FX and other networks are getting? Which I think is the case. I think they see FX and they see like basic cable isn't doing so hot. And because HBO, Showtime, Stars, you can get that stuff on YouTube TV. You can get it on Hulu with live TV. You can subscribe to them by themselves, but you can't subscribe to Comedy Central by itself. You can't subscribe to a lot of these things by themselves. But I don't understand why they're comparing themselves to AMC, to FX, to insert third network here. Rule of thirds, please. Doesn't make sense. Listen, this has been going on for a long time, so listen to this. If you like what you heard here, head on over to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can find, interviews with your favorite comedians. You can, if you want to see a video version of this show, head to youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can see me sitting on the futon. Sitting on the edge of the futon. I can't believe I haven't done that before. Also on youtube.com/peoplescomedy is the premiere show News Time. News Time is a show where it's like the Daily Show, speaking of Viacom CBS, and Comedy Central, where I take one story and I dissect it. I talk about it. This week's episode is about the return to the movies. Today, the day you're listening to this podcast, AMC theaters are opening back up across the United States. And they're going to have 15-cent, which I forgot to put in the story, but whatever, 15-cent tickets where you can watch movies new and old come out to celebrate, to get you back. They're going to have, I think it's called recession era ticket pricing or something like that. Or Great Depression era ticket pricing, because I guess they were that cheap or that expensive back in the after the Depression broke, or when the Depression happened, and they're trying to get people in seats, butts in seats for movies. So definitely check it out. It's a good episode. Yeah, if you want to follow us on Twitter, Instagram @CBlissComedy, follow me on Twitter, Instagram @ChadBlackWhite. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe, rate, and review this show on Apple Podcasts, because that's what the masters want. And I don't mean masters like slave masters, because I'm black, but masters of the podcast. Masters of the podcast. Really had to fit in a Les Mis reference. All right, I'm leaving. Bye.